in the transformation of KCB Group into the undisputed leader in the financial services sector and a customer-focused financial powerhouse. He has extensive experience in banking, strategy, operational and people management. Previously, Paul served as the Regional Business Director, KCB Group PLC and the MD NBK. He has close to 25 years of work experience spanning executive and key roles including Group HR Director, KCB. He has served in other big corporates such as Barclays, PwC, KREP Bank, EABL and Unga Holdings. Paul Russo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on the numbers that you released yesterday, but I wanted to start this conversation with what has been on the headlines, definitely. And you made a decision to accept the binding offer from Access Group to take over NBK, which have made quite some headlines as we saw yesterday and even today. Could you share some more factors about what led to this decision and the optimism you have for the future of NBK?
Yeah, so I think it's important to go back to 2019 when we took over NBK.
Yes.
Originally the strategy was to take and integrate with KCB Kenya. Typically I said to people that that's not a straightforward process because you've got a huge entity, you have to clean up and reset that entity.
Yeah.
In the process, we continually reviewed and were running that particular setup.
Yeah.
Went to the step where we deployed T24 terminals to bring them onto the same core banking platform.
Yeah.
But as you realize, 2023, and we recapitalize it to about 14 billion.
Yes.
For both compliance and business performance.
Mm-hmm.
But the famous Basel Criticals case versus NBK took the institution back to non-compliance. As I said yesterday, you're looking at an additional 5 billion to make NBK compliant and maybe another 3 billion to then support growth.
Okay.
In the process of making a call, you just don't make a decision on funding for capital. Mm-hmm. We chose, the group through the group board to make a full evaluation and see what options that we had.
Yeah.
And it's at that point that we made a decision that the offer from Access made a lot of sense for.
Okay, fair enough. Still on the same thing, that acquisition has seen both great progress and challenges, as you said yesterday. And I feel, I don't know whether this is a pain point for you because you felt very passionate when you were taking up this NBK, listening to you then. It must have felt like, the release in a child that you have been growing, but I don't know how that feels for you. But I wanted to ask you, could you elaborate on the significant legacy claims that have impacted the gains achieved and what strategies were in place to mitigate such challenges moving forward?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said yesterday, I love NBK. I've run NBK for 2 years. I know the value of NBK, both from a people perspective and a performance perspective.
Yeah.
So yes, it's not the easiest of the messages to deliver.
Yeah.
But we've worked on this for the last 6 months.
Okay.
And I said the fact that someone leaked it in the night before the decisioning is actually good work because we've run it for 6. This decisioning process has been there for 6 months.
Okay.
Since September, the last time I spoke to you.
Okay.
The legacy cases, look, out of that, Basel Criticals is 2.5 billion. It's a 30 plus years case.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
I'm on record saying we've taken advice in the past from top lawyers and top law firms.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario that you'd look at that case in every advice that we got was 220 million.
Okay.
And you get times 10.
Okay.
There is nothing that will prepare you for that outcome.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And let's get to a bit of the numbers. And 37.5 billion profit after tax. You noted that this is quite a huge mark. But of course, the other headline is also about the dividend that you chose to keep and reinvest. And I wanted to just ask you what really led to this and what informed this, and what message do you have for the shareholders who probably were hoping to get something from you? Yeah.
That 37 is far below our ambition.
Okay.
Far below.
Okay.
If you look at those numbers, we took tough decisions to downgrade 56 billion.
Yeah.
Portfolio of 56 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers, we are carrying round about 14 billion or thereabout of FX impact because of the depreciation of the currencies on the loan book in the ECL model.
Yeah.
It's not a joke, but it may sound like a joke. If you had pushed the reporting period to 31st January, that number would have been up by 10 billion.
You're right. Wow, 10 billion.
So you'd be reporting down about 47.
47 billion, yeah. Okay, quite significant.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't control the market, but you must be prudent about how you account. So
yeah.
we believe that was below our ambition. But on the different front, and it's true, this is the first time KCB has not paid dividends in the last 21 years.
Yeah.
You've got an entity called KCB Kenya, which is your machine that performs, that generates that value for dividends.
Yeah.
The prior year, we paid dividends for the acquisition of TMB. Right?
Yeah.
That, with the downgrades that we are talking about, has an impact on capital.
Yeah.
You can see the capital level in up to September was thin for KCB Kenya.
Yes.
But it is your entity that generates value for the dividends. So if you pay dividends and constrain the ability for it to generate for you in 2024 and going forward, then you'll be doing a zero-sum game.
Okay.
So we are pushing to make sure that those decisions we took in 2023 deliver better dividends for 2024 for our investors.
Okay. And fair enough, because you've spoken about your capital stand, and I also noticed that in the same year there was an acceptance of some significant funding, especially for the Kenyan entity. You talked about EIB and Propaco, which is quite ambitious. In fact, I wanted you to just elaborate. What are the insights, or what specific growth initiatives are you expecting to really pump into this funding?
If you look at 2023, KCB Kenya grew 23% on top line.
Okay.
Credit and lending grew 23%.
Yes.
You have to support and fund that growth. That's why I speak on a light note and say it's a machine. It fires from all cylinders, right? So you've got to say, how do you fund that growth?
Yeah.
Now, you'll obviously go for cheaper liquidity and see how you can get that. But you always have to have lines available for you to be able to utilize. Largely, that is actually towards SME. And you must have seen our numbers for women-led enterprises.
Quite high.
In terms of supporting those businesses.
115 billion?
You have to fund those lines.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've got approvals from both sides. The conversation is draw down, and when you draw down, and I mean, you don't just take money to keep. So you must have opportunities to deploy and deploy optimally.
Okay. Let's talk some positives. I noticed that you had some notable growth on your digital services, which means that Kenyans are embracing your digital ways of transactions. Mobile lending showing 73% increase, and internet banking as well 47%, which is quite commendable in terms of the numbers. However, I also noticed that you had your mobile services decrease. And I was wondering, what are these? What are the factors contributing to this particular trend and adjustments that you've seen?
I think our explanation is only one. Remember, up to that point, it was free because of the call.
Okay.
And charges came in. So there was migration to use it when it was free. No wonder you're seeing ATMs for the first time up.
Yes.
If you
People
notice.
back to the ATMs.
So it explains. Everybody's trying to save a shilling.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Fair enough. Now, there's another interesting fact that I saw, and it's about your provisions for the NPLs. And I just wanted to ask you, looking at your NPLs and the percentages, one would be a big concern, thinking, are you worried about it, looking at it? And could you shed some color on it, looking at the percentages?
I'm not worried. Is it a concern? Yes.
Okay.
Right? Because if I was worried, then I shouldn't be having this role, right? The stock is massive.
Yeah.
The NPL stock is massive.
73,
That's why we're not
70.3%.
focusing on NPL percentage.
Okay.
If you see our results and the reporting, if we focused on percentage, we've moved from 22 to 17.
Yes.
Right? But the stock is an issue.
Okay.
So, and we've put in plans, as the CFO articulated yesterday, to reduce that stock. So our focus will be on the stock. By the stroke of the exchange rate, as I told you, 14 billion of that is off.
Yeah.
From that stock.
Yeah.
The downgrade of 56 billion last year, if you take actions to revive those, it should be. I think for me, knowing that stock, which is what we did in 2023, is the great news.
Yeah.
You pumped it up, but you know it. So you have two tasks now.
Okay.
Manage migration so that there's less flow into that, and then reduce the stock. Those are the two priorities now.
Okay.
I think investors were always worried, at least when I took the role and said, Paul, we don't see the end of the increase. So I needed to bring that close.
Okay.
And that means you shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you downgrade 56 billion? You gotta do it, because if you're gonna do bit by bit, you're losing confidence.
You're right.
Right?
Okay.
So 2023 for us is a major milestone of just getting that stock closer to what we think is a max. Yeah. And I think then that lightens the organization to run, to perform.
Okay.